It is absolutely not possible to choose how you look when you're born. However, some people are just not satisfied either way, so they choose to go under the knife and transform themselves into characters or even other people that they admire. Hey guys, my name is LEROY KENTON and welcome back to another episode of FTD News. Now in this episode I have 5 cases of people who transform themselves into fictional characters. This is going to be a real interesting one. Now before I get started though, leave a like on this episode, and also if this is your first time here to FTD News, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. That way you won't miss any of these unbelievable stories. Starting on number 5, we have the human Barbie, Valeria Lukyanova. The media can often set unrealistic body standards that can really screw with someone's self-confidence, self-worth, as well as the way they see themselves. And here we have Ukrainian model Valeria Lukyanova, who turned herself into a real-life Barbie. Now she has a very tiny waist and completely disproportionate body, icy blue eyes like Barbie dolls, and she claims that she's had breast implants, but the rest of her is all 100% natural. Valeria apparently uses heavy makeup and contact lenses over her natural greenish blue eyes, and for years she said in interviews that all she ate was light and air. And there's actually a name for this kind of diet. It's called breatharianism. And apparently this allows somebody to access an inner power that can allow us to nourish ourselves without eating actual physical food. Now most news outlets believe that the pictures circulated by Valeria Lukyanova were enhanced with Photoshop. However, she did dismiss these claims by posting videos on YouTube where she doesn't have so much makeup on and she looks a lot more natural than a lot of her pictures. Well, we talked about Barbie. Here we got Ken, Justin Jedlicka. Justin Jedlicka is an American man who's become very famous for having over 190 cosmetic procedures to look like the famous Ken doll, who's the husband of Barbie. And according to the recent numbers, he's spent over $200,000 on surgery, and among his surgeries he's had rhinoplasties, a cranial brow bone shape and augmentations to his cheeks, lips, buttocks, and chin. And Justin's upper body is filled with silicone implants in his biceps, triceps, and shoulders. And he said in an interview that looking like a Ken doll wasn't his inspiration for transforming himself. In fact, he said that his inspiration came from anime. Justin started going under the knife when he turned 18 years old, and that's because his parents were against him transforming himself into a human Ken doll. Justin had to wait till he was legal age to get his first nose job that cost him $3,500. And he said he wants to be 110% plastic. He said this in his own words. "For me, plastic surgery is an extension of my creativity. I have a reputation of being one of the most extreme plastic surgery addicts in the world, and I love continuing to push the limits. I still have a long way to go before I can say I'm 100% plastic." The case at number 3 brings us to human elf, Melinda Moon. Elves have been a big thing ever since those fantasy stories have been in existence, and Melinda Moon, who's a Canadian-based model, has been a fan of mythological creatures since she was a child. Now she believes that she may have been a fairy in her past life, and her obsession caused her to spend over $400 to have an operation in 2011, and the purpose of the operation was to make her ears look more pointed, exactly like an elf. She said that she's been drawn to elves because of their innocence, their elegance, and their spirit. After having the surgery, Melinda Moon said that she would never go back to being human, and all she lacks is the glitter and wings to fly. She even had the tops of her ear cartilage skinned and pieces cut off from the tips, just so that they can be even more pointy, and the surgery lasted about 2 hours. That sounds really painful. And when she described the treatment, she said that it was a bit uncomfortable the day after. That's the biggest understatement ever. But she did confess that her ears were really swollen and swore with a slight burning sensation. She then added and said it was completely worth it. So guys, you take a look, let me know what you think. How do you think she looks? Number 2, we have Anastasia Spagnina. She was inspired by anime cartoons, and Anastasia transformed herself into an anime character. Of course, she was inspired by anime, and she spent hours transforming herself. Like, her transformation is complete with enormous glossy eyes, she has a itty bitty waist, purple hair, and she has a defined pout and coquettish type of pose. Anastasia is also from Ukraine, and she took style inspiration from cartoons because she wanted to capitalize on the huge fan following that anime cartoons have in Japan. She even adopted a Japanese name for herself, and that's Fukakumi. So yes, she has completely transformed herself through surgery, and on top of that, she spends 2 hours each and every single day to get her face prepared. The process involves applying heavy and very detailed makeup that takes a lot of patience, and takes her 30 minutes to put her makeup on one eye. She stands just 5 feet 2 inches tall, and she's already reported to have slimmed down and weighs just a little over 84 pounds. She eventually wants to have surgery to permanently reshape her eyes, as well as reduce the circumference of her entire waist. Now, number 1, we have Herbert Chavez, who transformed himself into the real-life Superman. Having real-life Superman protecting our world is obviously a fantasy. Like, I guess some of us wish Superman was real, others don't really give a damn about Superman. But either way, Superman has been a fantasy and somebody that young boys really look up to. Now, one man took this a little too serious though, Herbert Chavez from the Philippines. He literally transformed himself into the Man of Steel. Herbert Chavez had over 23 surgeries so that he could look like Superman. And this happened over a period of 18 years. Herbert Chavez had had a nose job, liposuctions, skin whitening, and fillers, and jaw work. And his surgeon does most of the work for free in exchange for Herbert Chavez promoting him in the media. Although in spite of that, he has spent over $5,000 US in various other cosmetic procedures on his body. And Herbert Chavez says that he fell in love with Superman after watching him on TV when he was only 5 years old, and he even wears bright blue contacts over his eyes so he can match how Superman's eyes look. However, the doctors had to stop him from having his 24th surgery when they found out that Herbert Chavez was actually injecting himself with poisonous ab fillers. Alright guys, so that was a look at 5 surprising people who transform themselves into fictional characters. Do you have any fictional characters that inspire you? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, here's another related video that I definitely don't want you to miss. Tap the annotation right here, it'll take you straight to it. Also, my social media links are below in the video description section. And it's been great hanging out with you in this episode of FTD News. My name is LEROY Kenton, and I'll see you next time. Boom.